And one, we are live.
Grand Rising. This is the Straight Talk Morning Show. I am Andre Hill. I'm your host. We have a full panel today. We got two of the elders that's going to be signing off at 11:30. So we got to get this show on the road. I promoted on Facebook our topics, and we're going to deal with reincarnation. We're going to deal with desegregation. Who really benefited from desegregation? This happened in the 60s. Mama Kali and the chairman, we were very conscious at that point in time, so we can give you a little take on it as time go on during the show. Also, crashing the economy. They're going to crash this economy intentionally because everybody knew we were going to wake up at this time. Everybody but us, the melanated people, the original creation on this planet. They knew that the illusion was going to dissipate, and we're going to start going, wait a minute, how these people get in charge of it? So we're going to expand on that, why they're going to crash the economy. Also, Chairman going to expand on what's going on with the cosmos. And Mama Kali, she and I were talking about an additional cover-up. So we're going to take on all these topics, but let me introduce the panel. At my top left-hand corner, we have Chief Yasan. He is known for the Great Cookout. Everybody that's coming into our nation goes through Chief Yasan. How you doing this morning, Chief?
Phenomenal. Appreciate you guys for having me. Glad to be here. Oh, man, thank you.
All right, so we're going to keep it moving. Also in my top right-hand corner is Shaz Mendez down in, I don't know, do I say West Palm Beach or Fort Lauderdale?
South Florida.
South Florida. By the way of Trinidad. How you doing this morning, Shaz?
I am incredible today. I feel great. I look forward to these live talks on Saturday mornings. I'm glad to see that everyone is live and popping, and I can't wait to get on with the show.
Absolutely. All right, so we have a new visitor from the West Coast in California. We have Jackie Christie. How you doing this morning, Jackie? And what's the weather like? You got to give your weather report out there.
Well, I'm doing fantastic, and the weather is unusually hot right now in California, which is quite alarming, especially when a lot of the locals are saying, why is it so hot? So we're enjoying the heat. It feels like very humid and like I'm in Florida.
That's humid and tropical. All right, so glad to have you on the show. Also, we have our scholar. We have our scholar, Mama Kali, up in Atlanta, Georgia. How you doing this morning, Mama Kali?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here, and thank you all for being with me and allowing me to be a part of the show.
All right. Well, we're going to come to you very shortly. In Detroit, Michigan, we had the chairman, Terrence Lake of the United Aboriginal American Republic, the Council of Elders. How you doing, Chairman? What's the weather like up in Detroit?
Oh, grand rising, everyone. But you don't want to know about the weather. We've had some alerts. We've got a fire up in Canada, and it's blowing smoke down into Michigan, and you can't even see Canada. You know, when you come to Detroit and you can look across the water and see Canada.
Right.
But today is much better. Thank God for that. You know, but other than that, it's going to be a great day. And I got a family reunion going on, so that's why I can't stay for the whole show. But I'm looking forward to it. Doing what I can today, try to enlighten our people.
All right. Well, we got a lot to cover today. We got Andre Jr. He's in Canada. Hey man, did you start those fires?
Might have. Listen, we bring the the mission everywhere we go. So I actually thought I was like, I wonder if me coming up here, they was trying to start some stuff, and then the Most High was like, nah, back up now. But it's I'm in Montreal, so according to the family, the fire started in Toronto. That's about 6 hours west of Montreal. And so, we saw the sky tinted yellow and orange, but as
Yes.
far as breathing and and such, I mean, we fine. We all right. We good.
All right. Well, so we know what the weather. I think you were saying it was like 75 degrees up there now.
Yeah. It's like a light 75 somewhere in there. They do temperature differently up here. They do Celsius, so I think it's what they call 25 degrees, which according
Right.
to us, that's around 70, 75.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna keep this show moving. We have a full panel. Chief, your son, he is known all over social media. Welcome to the cookout. He's one of the first people when our people wake up and say, we need to get our status correction. We need our genealogy. We didn't know who we are. He's one of the first people you talk to. So, hey, Chief, give us a little insight on what's Welcome to the Cookout all about and how people can go to your channel and find you to understand what they need to bring to the picnic table.
Yes. Thank you. Welcome to the cookout. Welcome to the cookout means that you are not alone. In this status correction journey, you will not be alone. For a long time, these status correction gurus have been selling our people packages, or actually, in truth, they've been selling our people templates. Really, they've been selling our people paperwork. They've been selling our people information. So throughout my journey of indigenous status correction, it wasn't about selling people anything, right? It was about the freedom of our people. So through my connections with tribal governments, I was showing people how to obtain their tribal ID, their tribal genealogy, how to lawfully document affidavits or declarations of their indigenous status. And you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Chief Ya Son. There might be a couple fake pages of me, but if I'm busting over 50,000 followers, then that's me. That's the right account. So the people that see me, right, the difference in between what we are doing and what a lot of people are doing is we are relying on each other. We are walking hand in hand. We are utilizing the power of brotherhood, sisterhood, and family. So when people come through my process, which we refer to as the tribal screening or the tribal status correction program, they are not only receiving genealogy, they're receiving documentation, they're receiving a certificate, and they're also opening up the doors and the different avenues to other tribal communities, such as the Honorable UAAR, right? Who has been nothing short of a gift to not only I and the Tutushi Mayan nation, but to the world. Many people don't know this, but you opened up your doors. Not only that, but you slashed your prices by more than half, 66%, if I may be honest with you. And this is all for the greater humanitarian and the greater good of the people. So, you're getting all of that just by coming into the cookout. So I hope I answered that correctly. I'll land that plane there.
So how can they watch your videos to get the introduction to what we're doing?
Oh yeah, TikTok, Chief Ya Son. It'll be my only page. Instagram, Chief Ya Son. CHIEF, and the Ya Son is YAHSON. And here we have a platform of education, history, political statements. You even get a little bit of ecclesiastical content in there as well.
All right. So we know that the demons of the most low are dug in real deep here in the so-called US, and they are the ones that's causing havoc all over this planet. So what happens when you join this collective, when you do your genealogy and get your status correction? it helps us to grow in numbers. And we are tapped into the metaphysical field to dismantle these demons. That's why you're seeing fires, floods, all kind of crazy things going on. And one of the things this is the disturbing part, but I tell people, I tell everybody in our tribe, let's start focusing in on these demons, because what we know is that when they intercept, or try to disrupt the unified front of all of our Aboriginal tribes, not only in America, but all over the planet, their death is imminent. And this is real. And we're focusing on that. So the more people we have to focus in on that thought, you'll start seeing these demons disappear from the surface. And they have to catch those bodies in. And hopefully in the next life, they can get a beautiful melanated body and they don't have to worry about hating on people and causing disruption to the planet Earth. But anyway, I'm gonna leave that there. We're gonna keep it moving. Mama Khalid, we were talking about, we've been dealing with the cover-up, how these demons are just covering up our history. And I sent you a video how they build libraries to change the frequency on top of monuments, pyramids, everything, and even building brick walls to make sure that we don't find the true history. And you were explaining to us, it's disturbing, and you're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Yes, thank you for giving me the opportunity to wonder. Because, okay, a lot of information is coming out now about what happened in the 1800s when there was a takeover, when the Rothschild took over the money system, when they have the World's Fairs all over Europe and America, and they displayed these monumental, beautiful buildings, which they said they built, and then burned them down. Except for like certain buildings, some churches they left in place. They repurposed a whole lot of buildings here in America. And most major cities have at least one or two that belong to that era called the Tartarian era. Okay, now I think that I've been hearing a lot about the Tartarian Empire, and that is what was being covered up, which was these buildings that had electricity. They were monuments, they were castles, they were huge buildings, and they housed these grids that gave like electricity, free electricity, free lights all over the place. And the libraries that were a part of this so-called Tartarian civilization, all those books were destroyed. Now, what I was just discussing with you was, okay, now we need to get to the bottom of who these people actually were, because it was at the same time, right after the so-called, the Declaration of Independence, and there's a whole nother secret story behind that. It's just so much that it would take days to talk about it or even to express it. But it was the rise of the new demons. I can only call them demons. They brought in, the Babylonian money magic. They brought in the Babylonian sex magic. They brought in the Babylonian. And that system, which, from what I understand from other sources, they changed it. It was the original Tartarian system of money did not charge interest. This is what I got from viewing quite a number of videos that has been exposing this Tartarian empire. Now we know that it existed because it's on old maps. And we know that, like, for instance, the video that you sent out about how Carnegie, which was the U.S. Steel, I believe I think was 138 or so buildings that belonged to the old empire that he actually transformed into libraries, but all the information was obscured, and the true information of what was going on here on this planet was, obliterated. They changed everything. And you know that the time was changed. We used to have a 13-month calendar of 28 days each. And they changed it so that some months are 28 days, some months are 30 days, some 31. And they are not synced, because September is not the seven, but September isn't the seventh month. So all of this was changed. And they implemented the money system of charging interest. Well, this is what has killed our movement, us. That the introduction of interest on loans. It was not even allowed in the old Tartarian banking system. But that is what's killing us now. It's interest. And you know that we are redlined. Our communities are redlined to charge the highest interest rate.
Yes.
And if there is something good or new, our zip codes are redlined. So we don't get the free stuff. Now, I know what I'm talking about, because I go into these and check to see what's going on. But it's all about taking our economic power away from us, scrambling our minds. Even they changed the natural resonance of the brain. 432 hertz, which of the Earth's resonance or vibration, they even changed that to 440, so that it unscrambles our minds, so that we all the time don't really know what's going on. Yeah. So it's all confusion to make sure that we do not actually get to know who's in charge and what they're doing and how we can escape. But some of us made it through. Those of us on this panel right now, at least we got a portion of our minds going clear. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because we're able to see through all the dust particles that are put out there, and the disruption of the frequencies, the natural frequencies of the earth, and our brains and our body frequencies. 432 hertz was changed to 440. And this is one of the things we have heard from our rap stars, how they changed the music that our the hip hop started out with, and changed it to 440 hertz, which then just changed the whole way that our brains operate. So this is what we have to unscramble, because we have to know. We have to know the source. Who are these demons? How do we get rid of them? All that UAAR Nation is doing is great, but so many people are not hearing because their brain waves are dysfunctional. So we have to deal with that. We have to deal with it. Sometimes we want to do the big cover, and go into it like that. But if people don't get it, then we can't engage them in a proper way.
Absolutely.
So I land that there.
All right. Well, so Mama Callie, I believe we're going to have to do some more shows, because there's a map of all of the libraries that covered up these frequencies that will give us access to all that knowledge. So we're going to have to bring that up on one of the other shows and focus in on that. But we're going to deal with reincarnation and get to the root. But anyway, the chairman also got to leave out early. Chairman, I've been running across bits and pieces of more information, and your topic deals with the root of the problem, that there are advanced civilizations that's been here from the beginning of the time. So you've been giving us an update, confirmation, a verification on this. So what's the latest that's going on in the cosmos?
Well, the latest is basically they're talking about Disclosure Day. They're trying to open up the books to show us that extraterrestrials really exist. Now, you got two major people that have a lot of knowledge on what's happening in the universe. You got Dr. Stevens Greer and you got Professor Avi Loeb. They are similar in thought, but they differ in the fact that Dr. Stephen Greer, he has made contact with extraterrestrials, literally, and they know that. But Professor Avi Loeb, he hasn't made a physical contact, but through all his calculations and everything, he knows that extraterrestrials exist in the universe, and he's trying to prove it mathematically. Now, with the 3-eye atlas, how it came into our solar system, and it's still in our solar system, but it's on its way out. It's probably just past Neptune, and that's a long distance according to us, being so small in this infinite universe. But that, 3-eye atlas, it has an arrival. It has another comet that basically has entered our solar system. And I forgot the name of it, because I've been so busy doing so many different things. But they're tracking it. Now, today we've got the technology, and we got telescopes like the Webb and the Hubble, and they're building another one that's going to be even better than the Webb. Now, it can see things that we couldn't see in the past. So it's spotting these comets or spacecraft, more and more. But this has always been, we just didn't have the technology to acknowledge them, that they exist, unless you just get deep into the history and recognize that we came here somehow. There are civilizations that came to planet Earth and left. So we know that. We've got artifact on this planet that we know there's no way man could have created or built some of the things with the knowledge that we so-called possessed back in the day. But we know that there were civilizations that did it because they're here. The artifacts prove themselves. But our object is we were put here to come together. And that's why the extraterrestrials are making themselves available to us now because they see that we're almost on the brink of annihilating ourselves and possibly destroying a vibration in the universe that could kill other societies in other solar systems. And they're not going to allow that to happen. I think they'd push the button for us and eliminate us than to destroy what the universe has possessed for our, our existence. But we are getting a lot of information now, and you'd have to be under a rock not to know and realize that, there are other civilizations in the universe and that we have had made contact with extraterrestrials, but they're keeping a lot of things secret. Like I say, even with this disclosure, they're not telling you everything, but they're just giving you enough to let you know that, yeah, you're right, they exist, but we ain't telling you everything. But yeah, we just got to hold on and keep on moving in that direction, as far as unifying. So there'll be someone nominated to communicate with these extraterrestrials, because we can't let just one country dictate to them, because they might tell them lies, even though I know they can see through the lies, the extraterrestrials. But you know how some people in this uh, country can tell lies and want people to believe it, and that's not gonna fly. The extraterrestrials, I think they possess mental telepathy where they could read our minds. They probably even listening to this conversation right here because we're speaking on a universal level. But we are getting it together, and just hold on, because it's going to happen soon. I said 2 years, I think, before then, where the information is flowing right now. So I'll land that plane.
Well, Chairman, I know for certain that there are members on our Council of Elders in the United Aboriginal American Republic that have not only made contact, but are in constant communication with those ETs. But the message that's being transmitted, I know from me, and I know everybody else on the panel is getting the downloads, but the message that's being transmitted is that until we demonstrate as a collective that we're going to love each other unconditionally, treat each other the way we want to be treated, and respect whether you have a PhD or high school diploma or even sixth grade, you have value to the whole. And so when we start demonstrating that, those beings will step in. But if you're going to stay selfish, well, I got my PhD, well, I'm making this kind of money, all of this Luciferian system is about to be shut down. None of his money or her money is going to be allowed. You'll be allowed to operate with it if you don't kiss the ring. And we got somebody up in DC right now that wants to be the king and wants you to kiss the ring in order to participate in their monetary system. So we are the ones that the ETs are waiting on. Can no other culture make contact with them to get access to the benevolent power that they're willing to give us to change this world? We're the only ones. So on that note, Chairman, I'll hang around as long as you can. We have a couple of videos to get to the root of the problem, because a lot of humans don't understand what heaven and hell or the next life or previous life incarnations, the correlation between the two. But you create your own heaven and hell based on how you treat people. But a lot of our people don't understand that reincarnation is real. They think they're gonna go up in the sky and wear some wings and dance around in heaven, eating milk and honey all day, or go down into a pit and be chased around with a pitfall. That's not the way it happened. How you treat people. But anyway, let's get a verification of that, and then we can get Shaz and Jackie to weigh in on what they think about that. Can we play that first video on reincarnation?
Yes, I'll be sharing it right now.
And so while he's setting that up, one of the shows that I saw a long time ago, it was done by the University of Virginia and History Channel. And they did a 2,000 case study on reincarnation. They show one particular show where this young kid went. He would actually remember when he was in the military in World War II, and he was flying a plane. It crashed, and he remembered his soul floating up out of his body, and he went to search for another body, and landed in a family in the Hawaii, in a Hawaiian hotel. And in that, go ahead and start, and whenever you get it going. And so he basically picked his family, but I think it was something a little different. I think you end up with the family that you are dealing with based on how you lived your life, how benevolent or malevolent you are. And that's where, that's the determination. And what we're trying to get people to understand is that if you got it?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Charles, play, brother.
You still don't think that reincarnation is real? Watch this, little boy. Watch this.
This is white people hair.
What does that mean?
It means that this hair is white.
You are a white person.
I'm not supposed to be white. We're supposed to be black, and we're black.
This reminds me so much of how clients respond when they're doing past life regression. And I ask them, describe your body, describe your skin, describe your hair. And they're like, I don't look like how I look in my current life. And if they are, melanated, they may say, I'm a white lady, or I'm Asian or something like that, and they're very shocked. And this young fella, he just came from the very presence of the Most High. His very last lifetime, he's remembering it as a melanated soul. And he's like, wait a minute, what's going on? This is not my hair, okay? Why? Where's my real hair? And he's really wanting to know. But this tickles me, but he is a walking example.
Hey, Shaz. So, coming from Trinidad, can you give us a confirmation on the science of reincarnation and your thoughts on
it? Yes, I can give you that. My input on reincarnation. Not only coming from Trinidad, but my studies in metaphysics also led me to delve into past life regression. So I know what that is. In my story, in this life, my son is the first time he's my son. He's been my brother in previous lifetimes. He was always my mother's son. I know after my mom had 7 pregnancies and given 5 births. Well, she gave six births, or 7 births, whatever. She had 8 pregnancies. I'm sorry. She gave 8 births, and 2 of her kids died. 2 died. So it was 5 of us. But she didn't want any more kids after she had my little sister. My mother gave me siblings on demand. Okay. When I wanted a brother, she gave me a brother. I was tired of him. I wanted another brother. She gave me another brother. I got tired of the both of them. Then I wanted a baby sister, and she gave me a baby sister. Okay. So she was a maverick, but she didn't want any more kids. And she says that her guardians actually performed surgery on her, spiritual surgery, because she never went on the pill. She never had any type of contraceptives. They didn't tie her tubes or anything. She just said they performed surgery. They tied up her tubes, and she didn't have any more kids. But guess what? Me in this lifetime and being her child, I was the one that got pregnant at 16 years old. And for whatever reasons, my parents were never upset. Like somebody getting pregnant at 16, their parents want to kick them out. They upset, whatever. But I guess with my mom being a metaphysician herself, she understood that I was carrying that other child that she was supposed to carry. And when he was born, actually, he looked like one of my brothers that was deceased. And in this life, my son treats me like I am his younger sister. He doesn't act like he's supposed to be my son.
Wow.
So And he had a very close and tight relationship with my mother. Now, when he was, I think maybe 14 or so, I had regressed him into his past life, several of them. And that's when I learned he was always my mother's son. Even in one lifetime, she adopted him. Now, he has been a samurai, he's been a Mongolian. He was also in his most recent life before this life, which was 1905. He was a Caucasian. All right. And I don't know if that's why he hate them so much in this lifetime, but really, he is so pro-black. And when I regressed my mother, maybe 6 to 9 months later when she came to visit, and it was the same experiences. So we were always her children. I don't know what's going to happen next time. I've been here 83 times. So I'm quite aware of reincarnation. I believe in reincarnation because I don't think that the creator is under no trees making no new souls. We're being recycled, and that's why kids are coming back to this planet with their experiences. I had a client whose granddaughter, she was like 2 years old, okay, and she will come into the salon and she will have these grown-up conversations with me, but the grandmother would be like, "Oh, Alicia, stop, stop, stop." No, let her talk. And she will talk about back in the day. Okay, so this is like going on for years. She's always telling me about back in the day. And back in the day, um, and mind you, let me preface this. She had really bad teeth as a child. Like, like where you get these rotten teeth from? You didn't eat enough candy to have them teeth, right? And she would say, back in the day, I hated to go to the dentist. She says, because the barbers used to pull your teeth out, and they didn't give you anesthesia. They would give you whiskey, and then they'd pull your teeth out. And so her grandmother thought this was just off the wall. I said, no, that's the truth. I said, now you see the barrels that you see in front of the barber shops, the one that had the red ribbon on it, because they were either blue and white or blue, white, and red. The ones with the red ribbon indicated that these barbers were the ones that will pull your teeth out if you wanted to have your teeth extracted, right? So I said she wasn't talking out of her head. This story wasn't, it was intriguing to me. So I will encourage it. Then another time we were having dinner. She must have been about 4 at that time. And we were talking about something else, but she just chimed in with, back in the day, we used to own slaves. Because I didn't say these were like white West Indian people, right? Um, she said, we used to own slaves. But she said, I never treated them badly because they were human. I never treated them badly. She said, until that guy, what's his name? The guy with the beard, that Lincoln guy. And she's talking like this, that Lincoln guy. He came in and he got rid of slavery. She said, I was so glad for that so the people could be free. So this is a 4-year-old talking about her experience in
Wow.
her past lives. Okay. So I am pretty much open. And I think like children within the first 2 years of being here will tell you where they came from if you ask them. But we don't. People think it's imaginary. But they have that cellular memory and they have that spiritual memory that's embedded in them. So we need to encourage that to know who they are and what they're here for.
All right. Hey, so Jackie, we're not pre-scripted, and we're off the cuff, and I don't know what your thoughts are on reincarnation, but what are your thoughts on reincarnation?
Well, my thoughts on reincarnation is that so as we transcend, we have an opportunity to choose how we come back to this earth school, because piggybacking off what Shaz said, that we're not picking no new souls, we recycling souls. So sometimes we haven't learned something, or there is a disruption in our family unit that or some wrongs that we need to right in our lineage, and we may come back as a brother or a sister or a cousin or a mother or a father or a whole different ethnicity to have certain experiences and make certain changes if we allow ourselves to get back to the divine source and understand what our purpose is while we're here in a new form with the same spirit.
Sounds like a star seed to me. Hey man, can you
Right.
load up that can you load up that other video, that other reincarnation video? Part of what I'm hoping to our Caucasian brothers and sisters and to our Negro gatekeepers, how you act in this particular light. And I'm glad they're showing these Caucasian kids that are saying, this ain't me. I was black. So what I'm saying to you, the melanated gatekeepers, if you continue to support this Luciferian program, you will lose your privilege to these melanated bodies. And to my Caucasian people, my cousins and friends, you have the opportunity to earn the right. I don't know where that came from. Earn the right to get you a melanated body in the next life, but you got to drop Lucifer's system. You got to contribute. But go ahead and play this one here. Let's see how it goes.
Claimed to be a friend in a past life, and it's one of the most chilling reincarnation cases in history. In the 1940s, a Kansas couple, John and Mary Carter, had a daughter named Emily. She seemed like any other child until at the age of 6, she began making unsettling claims. I lived in Egypt before. I miss my old home. Her parents thought it was just a phase sparked by her fascination with pyramids and Egyptology documentaries. But things got stranger. Emily began drawing hieroglyphs, saying, "This is my name." When asked where she'd learned them, she would insist, "I just know." Her parents dismissed it as a child's imagination. As Emily grew, her obsession with Egypt intensified. By the time she was 18, she had an uncanny knowledge of ancient Egyptian culture and symbols, despite never formally studying it. For her birthday, her parents decided to take her to Egypt, hoping to indulge her curiosity. Once inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, Emily acted as if she'd been there before. She corrected the tour guide's directions and confidently led the group through corridors. Then she stopped at a hidden doorway and whispered, "This is where I was last." Inside, they discovered an undisturbed chamber and a sarcophagus covered in hieroglyphs. The symbols perfectly matched the ones Emily had drawn as a child. She turned to her parents and said, "This is my name. This is who I was." The family was left in shock, unable to explain the unexplainable. And what she did next left the tourists inside run and scream. This girl claimed to be Cleopatra's friend.
All right. So once again, the point I'm trying to go, there was another one where a little Caucasian boy had, or a girl, drew a picture of herself and it had a black face, you know. And so what I'm saying, this is very critical. People, stop the BS. Stop supporting this Luciferian system, because this is what's causing the problem on the planet. Because when you lose your privilege to these melanated bodies, then you have to go into a whole different experience. You got to be hating and all that sort of thing. And so we want to encourage you to start contributing. You can, at this juncture, you can contribute to UAAR.org, UAARnation.org. You can contribute, or you can do whatever you can to stop racism, white supremacy. It's an illusion. It's you know. And then to you melanated people that have bought into this Luciferian system, and that's your survival, that's how you're going to roll, you are in jeopardy of losing your privilege. It's a privilege to have the original design. Hey, Chief, your son, what is your generation now? What do they think about reincarnation?
Oh man, I'm glad you asked. There's a song by Kendrick Lamar called Reincarnation, or Reincarnated. And when I first heard this song, it stuck in my head. I mean, it lit a fire so deep in me, I couldn't understand why. as someone who's never dove into reincarnation or Aztec records or past life regression, Empress Shaz, that was the second time that I've heard someone say that, past life regression. And the first time was in the Kendrick Lamar song. He said, Pat, I did past life regression last year and it messed me up. Reincarnated on this earth for 100 plus. Body after body, lesson after lesson. I take it back to Michigan in 1947. My father kicked me out the house because I wouldn't listen to him. Didn't care about his influence, only cared what I was doing. And he went so deep, and the song would bring me to tears because I felt it. I would say, this isn't my first time around. My trials, my tribulations, everything that I've gone through, it's for a reason. And more importantly, I did it to myself. I joke with all of my friends because I'm one of the shortest people in my family, right? And I'm talking men and female. The women are even taller than me, right? And I tell my friends all the time, I say, no, the Most High wasn't gonna let me be 6'3" in this life. I would not be where I am today. I would be a jerk. I would be a bully. I would be egotistical. I would be cocky. There would be nothing that you could tell me, all because I was satisfied by my stature. I would have never been, looked at or treated or different cliques or whatever led up to this moment in my life. I understood that it was because of my past life. So, as someone who was born in 96, right, we're right on the cusp of the old and the new. So, speaking for my generation, we know that reincarnation is real, and it just takes a deep look inside yourself, and that Kendrick Lamar song really helped bring awareness to it as well.
Wow. All right. Hey,
That is
Andre,
interesting.
I have my own personal reincarnation story about you, but I ain't bringing it out until you give me permission. But anyway, do you have what you did a past life regression, right?
Yeah. And I'm not gonna, I was thinking about that, and I was like, how much time we got?
We got time. We got time.
um, so let me kind of condense and profound my answer or response. So for one, I say this humbly. Everybody who knows me knows I throw this disclaimer out there before I say this. I'm a master cosmologist. In other words, a master astrologer, right? Um, and that's true. I like using the term heavily seasoned astrologer, right? Heavily seasoned. And reason why is because my father's sitting right here. He introduced me to it at a very young age, and he began studying it, writing it when I was, before an adolescent. And so I picked it up, but makes you wonder what really gave me the interest to study it so deeply as I did. Because probably I was an astrologer in the past life, for one. Um, for two, I picked it up and studied it very well, but it's also easy for me. It's like I'm a prodigy in that. It's very easy for me to understand cosmology. So much to the point now, and again, when I say I'm very humbly a master and heavily seasoned astrologer, at this point, I know how to create an astrology system. And that shocks people when I say that. But it's not, is it a complex science? Yes. But a lot of sciences are complex. Just like Nikola Tesla was very prodigious, I think that's the word, prodigious at electrical, period. That wasn't something that he just studied. No, he has mastered that over lifetimes. That's information that he's retained on the soul level. So now, but even going further, um, the study of cosmology allows you to study the human psychology, which is linked to the soul, which is linked, trust me on that. The human psychology is linked to the soul. It allows you to look at the reasons why people incarnate and what experiences they desire in this particular lifetime. I can see all that looking at somebody's chart. I can see all of that. Right now, saying all that to say this, getting to the reincarnation point, or my past life regression experience. I linked with a brother. I'm not gonna mention his name on the show, but I linked with a brother about 4 or 5 years ago. He was a past life regressionist out of Bahamas, and he was good. He was good at it. He was prodigious in that. He was very good at it. And I saw him. I reached out to him, and come to find out, he was an astrologer as well. So we built a school together, and we were teaching astrology. Um, and so he gave me a past life regression on the house. Um, and my experience was this, and just to keep it short and sweet, because it's like I said, it's a lot, but there's a lot of detail to that whole experience. But what I noticed was a lot of people he was regressing. They either were encouraged to regress to a lifetime dealing with slavery or trauma in general, or let's say trauma in general, I guess with the intent of healing whatever the trauma was, right? But a lot of people wanted to regress to a time of slavery. Now, me, I'm, y'all see who my father is. I was just raised in the conscious community. For whatever it's worth, I knew from a very young age, our story didn't start with slavery. I knew that. So I was like, I mean, listen, that's cool to regress. But I knew deep down in my heart, before I even knew about past life regressions, I wouldn't have lasted too long in the era of slavery anyway. I would have either been killing or they would have had to kill me. It was one of the two. I just wouldn't have lasted long then. So either way, I went back to a time before that. And I went back to a time where the Moorish Empire was doing what it was. It was in its heyday. It was in its prime, right? And so, long story short, then not too long after that, the download of my name came to me. My father's name is also my name, Andre Maurice, right? His mother, my grandmother, came up with that name, and we still kind of, me and Pops, we talk about it. We're still kind of, fascinated, intrigued on what was her, how did she come up with this name based on what it means? So in other words, Andre, the both names are technically French, or the variations of them are French. Andre stems from Andros, which is Latin essentially for the manly one. Maurice is just simply French for Moorish. That is plain simple. French for Moorish, right? But now, peep this. Now, Pops, like you probably should tell the story. But so long story, I do give you permission for this because it's just to tie all this together. Now, my mother, you know, who he got with to have me, her maiden name is Morris. Her maiden name is Morris, which is a variation of Moorish. So I had it on both sides, right? And so when I started doing the history on, let's say Moorish ideology in general, Moorish identity, Moorish culture in general, and even how a lot of Aboriginal people of the Americas got intertwined with what we call the Moors. It was very, very intriguing. But so saying all of that to say this, uh, um, past life regressions and reincarnation at Mama Kelly's coming back in. She may have something to drop on this too. Um, Based on all of our ancient sciences of our cultures, when we start to study our own cultures, regardless of what they are from all over the world, we see the metaphysical sciences, we see the spiritual sciences that let us know that we were very keen on understanding where you were coming from and where you were going before and after life. In most of our cultures, we have what you call funerary rites. We had a lot of culture built around the burial ceremonies. We had a lot of culture built around when you came when you were a child, the naming ceremonies. That wasn't just, just a birthday party. There was a science to that. You were given a naming ceremony, but you were also, there was a tribe or a clan cosmology that understood the time, date, and so forth on when you were born, what your purpose probably was, what it probably was, and thus, based on what lineage you came from, they can get a good idea of what ancestor may be recycling through into this new baby body, and which you were designed to do. Also, too, again, it didn't stop at that. The same way we had birth charts, we had death charts. There was a big science and funerary rites on the what your mission was leaving the planet, or let's say leaving this body, leaving this particular life, right? And we've been completely, I don't want to say we've been, completely stripped of it, but we see what happened. Mama Callie touched on this earlier. The levels of confusion, the levels of discombobulation from parasitic entities on the outside, constantly dumping that chaotic frequencies on us. We're coming back to it. I will say this. In the last 100 something years, 150 years, yeah, there was a lot that became distorted. But at this point, I watched the '90s babies, the early 2000s babies, and this seems to be all of their attitude. Like, I'm not going to work. I'm not doing them 9 to 5s. I'm not waiting 40 years for a pension. It's like, they came in already understanding that the technological era that we see now, they knew that was going to happen before they left the last lifetime. So they came back here ready to engage with it. And they said, "No, I'm not clocking in under some parasitic jackass to make him rich while I get pennies and be struggling from week to week. I'm not doing that. I would rather utilize what I know, what was supposed to happen, even though it ain't nowhere near what we thought it was going to be, but there's some level of it. I'm gonna utilize that in order to sustain and experience life the way we thought we were supposed to. So, saying all that to say this, landing this plane right here, we're thinking about reincarnation with us, and born in the '80s, let's say born in the '90s, like Brother Chief Son. Um, just what Brother Son said, we're the ones who saw the last of what we now call in the old world versus the new. The new world, these everybody born in the 2000s after, that's all they know. That's all they know. But they came here to usher in a harmonious world of integrating organic bodies with some level of technology. That's inevitable. That's gonna happen anyway. Here to tell you that. I'm here to tell you that as a cosmologist. Matter of fact, there's a whole 2,000 year window. Let be very frank with it. 21 is about 2,200 year window for technology alone. We ain't even seen the tip of the iceberg yet, right? It's a whole window for that. They're ready for that. We got little babies walking around here and they know how to use iPads better than I do, and they like 3. You see what I'm saying? Their product is on using technology because they came here with the intention on a soul level on engaging with that. So they're going to bring in the harmonious interaction and interface between us as organic spiritual beings and technology. We just have to give them the platform, the foundation, the protection,
Absolutely.
so that they can do this safely. Because These parasites understand, and I gotta say this before I land this plane. These parasites, these demonic parasites, they know their window is just one block over. They in the last hour. That means they are very desperate on trying to get a new extension. Or if before they know they have to go into what we call cosmic hibernation, they know they need a lot of food. They need something to sustain them while they have to go into hibernation. Basically, what that means is everybody's vibration on the planet is rising. You don't have to do nothing to them. You just have to raise your vibration up a little bit. They simply won't have access to you. And that's
Absolutely.
all they want. They need the access. Energetically, they need the access. But what we can see in real science, in this basic primitive science that we have today, in order to get access to a particular set of energy, you have to resonate with it. If they can't match your frequency, they can't get access to you. So that's why they have to constantly bombard us with chaotic frequencies, so we come down so they can enter. That's why they have to do that consistently. And so that's why they up in the ante on that right now. But their primary target is our precious children. They don't care nothing about morality. That's not a. They would rather. They look at it like this, just mathematically. They would rather risk, or they would rather leverage a lot of pain, because karma, they understand karma very well, but they would rather say, all right, would I rather be in hell, analogically, would I rather be in suffrage with some levels of pleasure, or would I rather just be in suffrage with nothing? That's what they're leveraging. So they're saying, all right, listen, yeah, we may be in pain, we may be suffering, but if we can convince a lot of these new souls that's reincarnating to buy in to our next stage of chaotic frequency, and we can have access to them, that's better than nothing. But from our perspective is we just simply can't allow that to happen. All right, so I'll land that plane right there.
All right, so Mama Kali, before we go into the desegregation part, now we know why these generations behind us ain't getting along with our program. We, you now understand why the children, the grandchildren, and the great grandchildren don't want to? They don't want to do this work till 65 and get Social Security. You're mute. Okay, so can you hear?
Hey, I was muted.
Oh yeah. Okay, go ahead. We can hear you now.
Okay. They are brand new. There was a beautiful book that I read back in, I guess, the 80s. It was by a author by the name of Aikwe Arma, and he was Ghanaian. And the name of the book was "The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born." And what he was talking about was this new generation coming in, that was going to take us from the old paradigm into the new paradigm. And this is what, Junior was just talking about, that the young people who are coming in now, from the late 1990s, and the 2000s especially, they ain't playing this old game. They will not play this old game. And but I'm seeing that a lot of them will play, and I think that is just to actually get to a point where they can actually make a difference in their lives or preparing themselves for the change, you see. But let me tell you, these young people, and just like Junior just said, hey, you know, these 3-year-olds come in here. I know, look, they know how to operate these gadgets. And I'm still trying to learn. I'm still trying to learn, you know, and but I get frustrated with them because I don't know whether they have an algorithm for old folks so that when you try to do something 2 or 3 times and you're unsuccessful, they make sure you don't do it until the next day or try the next day.
I can relate.
You know, and so you know, they recognize those who know and who don't know. And I don't even know if that's something that I need to worry myself about. I'll get the young people to do that. You know, but they ain't playing this old game.
No.
So what we have to do is to find a way to get into their consciousness, into their heads, so that they know who they are and how they can escape and create this new paradigm, because they're the ones who are going to have to do it. Of course, we can tell them about the old age, you know, the old paradigm that we're coming out of. And I work continuously to let my grandchildren know. I'll bring them music, I'll bring them historical facts, I bring them all kinds of stuff to try to connect them to, you know, the new paradigm, you know, and sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. But eventually, you know, when you continue to inform them and inform them, they will hear, but they no, there's this pull from the old world that is enticing them because of mostly materialism. You know, hey, you know, you need this new thing, you need this, you need that. I keep seeing the stuff I was wearing back in the 1970s. I keep seeing it coming up again. You know what I mean? But one thing that I do work really hard on is to teach my grandchildren about our musical development and giving them examples and sending music to them via, you know, the internet that we came up with so that they will know how our frequency evolved and our stories, because we always told our stories in our songs, including the dawning of the new age. And so I'll end up playing right there.
So, Mama Kali, we were going to do the desegregation, who really benefited from it. We may have to put that off the next week, but we leading into it. What you're just saying is that this new generation, they're different. Our generation from the 40s, the 50s, and 60s, we bought into, well, not all of us, but most of us bought into the hoodwink, into the program.
Right.
We need to be next to the mother cultures, and we have arrived and all that. And that was the reason we want to play that. We're going to definitely play that next week. But as we close out right now, what we need the people from our generation who have become disgruntled with these younger generations because they don't want to get into the dumb crap that we got into. We need to understand who they are, why they're here. And then we're going to have to invest in these kids on that level. So what we're doing with UAARnation.org, We know how to tap into these systems, and we know the astrological component of it. We know the reincarnation, the total metaphysics on how we're going to reverse and get this parasitic demon up off of us. It's not going anywhere until we demonstrate that we're coming together. So on that note, how about we go to the closing words? You know, you got 30 seconds. Hey, Jackie, do you have some closing words on what you think about where we are? You're on mute. You're on. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I've had my fair share of experiences with elders who, like the elders on this panel, that are encouraging to the youth, opening up their eyes to see certain things that they normally wouldn't be fully aware of. And I've had experiences with the elders who are like, yes, hit the ground running, get in line with the system, and this is going to happen if you follow this system. Both both have their own sense of wisdom, but when it comes to the bottom line, we have to make our youth aware of what to expect with each step that they take in life and what their choices can bring about. And that's the most important thing.
All right. Go ahead.
Also, gaining the knowledge, searching for literature that is no longer available, that has been banned, is very important to opening your mind and your consciousness, and getting to know yourself in what's happening and what happened in order to know what's happening. I think that's important as well. Getting understanding of writings that are no longer available so that we can learn more about civilizations that are no longer here, learn about stuff that they try to hide from us. And that is very important.
All right. All right. So Shaz, you know, I'm gonna give you two questions. You know, first of all, I promise our listeners that you will continue to give them update on healthy hair, what our women need to do to get away from the Luciferian design of unhealthy hair and start moving in the direction of healthy hair. And also, just give us your closing statement. Did we lose her?
Yeah, hold on, she's coming back in.
Okay, so while she's coming back in, hey, Andre, let's see, is she in yet? Yeah. So while she's uploading, Andre, you have your closing statement.
Yeah. Just want to give a shout out to the tribe itself. Listen, you know what everybody saw here today. You saw Chief Yasun, you saw me, you saw Principal Chief Andre Hill Sr., you saw our chief council advisor, Mama Kelly. You saw everyone who is on the front line with this movement, particularly from our group. And what we've been conveying to you is, yes, we know what it's going to take to get us to the next level. We're not saying this from a egotistical standpoint. We say this from a very humble and altruistic standpoint, meaning, you know, we know what it takes as far as the right spiritual mechanisms, meaning we ain't on no high horses, but we also are studious enough to know how to form the strategy on what it's going to take for us to mobilize. So go to UAARnation.org, and this is what's going to happen. Go to the nationality page. You're going to see the instructions to go to American Indian LLC first. So where you're going to meet Chief Yasan and his whole team, they're going to do a tribal screening for you, so you can figure out what your genealogy is. And just speaking on that note really quickly, it starts you on the process of learning what your family lineage is. That's important because, mind you, the whole thing about this Aboriginal movement is we're struggling to figure out what happened to our ancestors around the 1800s period, because there was such an onslaught against our people in that time. So we are scrambling to put those pieces back together before they're lost. And it's going to take us to do that. It's going to take our generation to keep that information alive. Because otherwise, if you have them parasites on the other end, if they could have their way, they would dissect that from you forever. That was their plan originally. That was their plan. So that's one part of it. You connected to your lineage, so you can have an understanding of who you are. You have an understanding of where you come from, so you know exactly where you're going. All right. So you're going to get with American Indian LLC first, and this is the reality. I have to say this. The genealogy process is very important to the nationalization process. We nationalize our Aboriginal Americans. We don't care what part of the Americas you're from. The whole Americas is ours. Say that again. All the way from Canada all the way down to the bottom of South America. All that's us. There's other people here now, but originally it was us. Right? So we don't discriminate on what part of the Americas you're from. So long as you are Aboriginal to the Americas, you're eligible for tribal nationalization. Go to UAARnation.org, just read the instructions, come on in with the intent of building. We've been building out our ministerial departments. We've got a tribal government, so we have departments to cover every aspect of civilization, every aspect of it. We encourage all of our people in our tribe to step up to whatever plate, to be very specific, whatever ministerial position, whatever committee, whatever position you feel suitable to step into with your skills, your talents, your ambitions, your goals, your dreams. Get in here and make it happen. I'll tell the people in the tribe all the time. The people you see here, we're not authority over you. When you nationalize into the tribe, you are the tribal government itself. You don't have a tribal government without the people. When we say we the people, we mean it over here. They don't mean it over there when they say it. We mean it over here. We the people are the actual government. I'm the chief jurist. I just sit in this seat to manage the position. But it's a position for me to serve the people of the tribe. That's my job, to serve everybody in the tribe. My job is to answer these phones practically every day to help people in the tribe. Okay. So but we do encourage everyone to bring your skills, your talents, your expertise, so that you can build business capacity, operational capacity to bring in revenue and GDP, so that you can help your family and other Aboriginal families sustain and exceed and expand. Excel, I should say. I'll end it right there. That's what we're about over here.
All right. So Shaz has made it back up. So Shaz, once again, you are in a very critical position as the chief empress, working on across the board. Give me your final statement. And what do our women, we need to talk about this every week, because these chemicals are killing our women, and it's affecting our women. Give life. And if it's affecting our women, then our baby's going to be sick. So give me your closing statement and then your statement on healthy hair.
my children stay as cheap as I have. This is very, very important that, like I said, the apartment destination up forward to me.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
I'm sorry. I think that happens below in the electricity. To remove installation and with the mission and the that we have, to open up our recognition of the nations so that can become organized science. This okay, can't do this, and I know that I have delegated a lot of
Empress Shaz.
So
yes.
Hey, Empress Shaz, yes,
Not hearing me?
sorry, beloved. Well, we can hear you. It's just very, very choppy. Very
Well, I
choppy.
don't know what's.
So we're gonna have to let you open up on next week, and we got to get these. Hey, Chief, your son. Yeah, because I know you're making a powerful statement, but we can't.
Right.
Sound like you 20,000 leagues under the sea.
I am.
Hey, Chief, your son, you on mute.
No, I think he had to step away to go
Step
handle
away?
some family business with his father too. But you know,
Okay,
he'll be back next week as well.
We're 24 minutes over the clock, and we definitely, Chaz, I'm looking forward to you speaking next week. We got to get that technical bug fixed. So, hey, man, go ahead and close us out.
All right. Well, I think it's been a great show. Peace and love to everybody out there supporting. We love y'all as always. We'll see you next week.
Peace, everybody.
Peace out.